Hey guys, welcome to another video, but as you can tell, this is a bit of a different one, again. And that is because I realized something, and I'll get into that in a second, but, what's this channel mainly about? ARK Survival Evolved. A survival game with dinosaurs and futuristic tech. I mean, what's not to love about that? It's awesome. But, here's the thing. I've found a lot of people actually really don't know ARK has a story, and out of the people that do know, a lot of them don't care. Now, why is that a big thing? Well, it normally wouldn't, except for the fact that Genesis Part 1 and Part 2 delved heavily into that lore, to the story of ARK, but a lot of people didn't realize that because they didn't know the story that was there before. So, my goal is to go through in a few videos. I'm going to be covering each ARK individually, except for this video. This video is going to cover the lore about ARK in general, and then past that, from next episode up until the end of, I guess, Genesis Part 1, I'd say, is probably when we're end it. I am going to cover every single map and the lore behind it. So, I just feel like that's kind of necessary. Now, before I really get into it, there's actually a few things I kind of want to plug, I guess. Not personal plugs, just things that I think I should say. So, first of all, if you want to read this notes yourself, you kind of want to, or you just found out, like, from me saying that there's actually a story, and you're like, what, really? Yeah, it shows up in Explorer Notes. Now, obviously you could go around each map to go collect them, but, I mean, if you could go to a website to look it up and just read the notes, wouldn't you? Well, you can go to the ARK Wiki. So, if you go to the ARK Wiki, you just search up Explorer Notes, and boom, now you have all the Explorer Notes there for you to read. You can read them all, it just works so amazingly. Chronologically ordered, that's a bit harder, but I don't even care about that. It's going to be way too frustrating to try to go in chronological order. Now, on top of that, if you're a theorist, or you just want to talk about lore, or you kind of want to clarify something, join the ARK Discord if you haven't already. There is a lore channel over there that me and a bunch of other people hang out in, and as of late, we haven't had much to talk about lore-wise, because not a lot of things have been, released lore. But if you have any questions, or you have theories or anything, totally put them in there. It's just something to spruce up the channel. We all love to talk about lore, so hey, if you have anything, pop on the ARK Discord, and the official ARK Discord. None of those, other server Discords or just, fan Discord. No, the official ARK Discord. And go to the lore channel, pop your question or theory or whatever in there, and have a fun time over there. Alright, lastly, the final, I guess, plug. If you enjoy, watching stuff, and you're like, I'm not huge, on reading, go over to Netty the Noodle's channel. You're gonna love it. He does amazing videos, on explaining just general things, like just setting up an ARK server, but he also does a lot of Explorer Note related things. My favorite series on his channel so far, and he's, as of right now, at the time of recording, he's not launched it yet. I'm not sure if he will once this is uploaded, but right now he hasn't. But he is working on the Nerva survival story. So if you don't know what that is, he's got like a full cast. He has people voicing them. He has like everybody in ARK trying to, do what the people are saying they're doing in the note. It's amazing. So totally recommend that. Go to his channel, hit subscribe because it's amazing over there. And yeah, just check out the survival stories. Oh, more, they're amazing. On top of that, if you want to understand the maps more, he also has detailed videos on every single map. I don't think he's done Genesis so far, but he's gotten through the island to extinction so far. So really good there. Totally recommend his channel. But anyway, so now that we have all that done, let's hop into the lore for this video. Alright, so as stated before, for this video, I want to explore the lore of the ARKs themselves, not the inhabitants. I will be going over everybody that's been in the ARKs, plus our role in the ARK story, but for now, I want to go over what these ARKs are. What are they? All that. So, first of all, what is an ARK? Well, an ARK is a chunk of Earth lifted up into space, and there's not just one, there's hundreds, if not thousands of these ARKs lifted up. And, well, what are they doing? Well, they're filled with a bunch of trials, and they're watched very carefully by an overseer. Now, what's an overseer? Well, to most people, it's just a boss fight that gives you an extra 15 levels if you beat, and a pretty cool ascension. Well, to us lore people, what is it? The Overseer is actually a Homo Deus, or more specifically, a shell of a Homo Deus. So, what I mean by that is, a Homo Deus is a ascended human, not by the normal ascension we think of, where, you ascend off an ARK and you go to the next one, you get extra 15 levels. Not what it means. They are ascended to the next reality. They have basically infinite knowledge. They know everything. So it's kind of insane, honestly. But here's the thing. It comes with a price. You have infinite knowledge and everything, but your human self, like just everything that makes you human slowly gets chipped away. The longer and longer you live as a Homo Deus. You can't go back once you become a Homo Deus. There's no way of going back. But, yeah. The longer you stay as a Homo Deus, the more and more your human self gets chipped away until you're basically just an AI, which is what the Overseer is. Most people mistake the Overseer for a robot. And although now it basically is, it actually technically isn't. It's just the shell of a Homo Deus from the past. So, now that we know what the Overseer is, well, what are they doing? The Overseer, they watch over the ARKs, making sure the ecosystem doesn't get thrown off balance, because, I'm pretty sure that, more than half, no, it's definitely more than half, way more than half of the creatures in ARK are carnivores. There's so few herbivores compared to carnivores. That's not how an ecosystem should work. There should be more herbivores than carnivores, because the carnivores eat the herbivores, and then the herbivores remains will fertilize more plants for more herbivores to eat, and then the carnivores eat those, and the cycle continues. Problem is, there's more carnivores than there are herbivores. Now, obviously, yes, the carnivores could kill and eat more carnivores, but carnivores, because they eat meat, they're more susceptible for parasites and everything, so it's a lot more dangerous to eat that meat. That's why a lot of carnivores don't attack each other in ARK. There are some that will, because of, aggression and everything, and territory and all, but most of them won't, and that's a big factor into it. So, why do the ARKs function? Because the Overseer makes sure that the ecosystem stays completely fine. Yes, there's more carnivores than there are herbivores, and that's by intention. But the Overseer makes sure that their herbivore levels stay consistent. They never drop below what they should be. Which, pretty crazy, honestly. Now, on top of that, they also have other things they do off of that as well. They can also supply us with items. Specifically, one of the best items I've found that they tend to supply us with is the medium crop plot blueprints. I don't even know what we do without those. That'd be insane. The game would be so much harder without those. But on top of that, they do watch our survivor. They watch, actually not just our survivor, but every survivor. They watch them to find out if they are the proper survivor to ascend. And I just realized I have Discord on. Sorry about that. Anyway, they search to find if they are the right survivor to ascend. Do they fit the criteria? Do they, are they trying to do what they can to leave the Ark? Now, obviously, in the story, not going to go over it a lot, but a lot of people, I mean, we know now, but when we originally played Ark before the Ascension and everything, the end of the island was made, we really didn't know that an Ark was an Ark. It was a chunk of Earth. It just seemed like an island with barriers and weird obelisks. That's all it really was. But yeah, each Ark is meant to actually not just, like make sure they're willing or ready to ascend, but there's actually a reason behind the ascensions. It's not just that extra 15 levels that's really handy. No, there's actually a lore reason, and that's because each Ark is supposed to prepare you for a challenge on Earth. Because Earth is ravaged by element. And when I say ravaged, I mean severely ravaged. It is immensely corrupted. I mean, if you go to Extinction, you can see it. How did that happen? That was a tech war. I mean, yeah, it was a crazy tech war. I was gonna say lore. That's not the right thing. But it was a crazy tech war. And the constant use of element dispersed the spores. And the more you use element, the more spores you create, and then they go out and start growing. And really what happened was it just went into the Earth without anyone realizing until it started messing things up. And then they're like, oh crap, this is a problem. So that's when the people created the ARKs, because they realized, that's not good. We've destroyed the Earth. We need to figure out a way to save it. Now, there are actually two plans, but I'll get on the other plan once we get around to Genesis, because the second plan relates a lot to what Genesis is. Now, as I said, each ARK is meant to prepare you for the next, or for a trial on Extinction, because originally there were a lot more. There were, if you go and read the Explorer Notes from Extinction, from, I don't even remember, basically everybody, they talk about there being so many Titans, more than the 4 we have in the game. There's more than the Ice, the Forest, and the Desert as the sub-Titans. The King Titan was always there, but, once the element really started taking over. But there's more than just the 3 sub-Titans. There were, Fire Titans. I mean, there's Titans for almost everything, and it was insane. But they weren't all also the giant power side of the Titans we also see in Extinction. Some of them were smaller. Let's say the size of, I don't know, a 2-story house. I mean, they literally would be the size of a mech. I mean, yeah, it wasn't all that super towering huge thing. Some of them were more on the side of a mech. So it was actually all the ARKs were meant to prepare you for all these different Titans. Now, the 4 ARKs we went on prepared you, or were supposed to prepare you for, or just happened to prepare us for the Titans that we actually had to deal with. Specifically, the island I found. The Broodmother isn't really that correlated to the Forest Titan, but it is somewhat. The monkey, the Megatherium, no, not Megatherium, that's a completely different creature, the Megapithecus, a lot similar to the Ice Titan, very similar there. And the dragon, also very similar. But we also have other creatures, and specifically apex predators. That's what a lot of people have found. The Giga is very similar to the Force Titan, Ice Titan, because it's bulk force. It's got crazy health, and when it's in wild form, crazy health, crazy damage. And that's what the Ice Titan is. It is crazy health, crazy damage. It's not much else than that. I mean, obviously it has ice powers, but that's, other stuff. But, what else? Well, the Wyverns, obviously, are very, very similar to the Desert Titan because of flight and their elemental abilities. I mean, the Forest Titan has its minions, but it also has the ability to use lightning. So it has its own abilities. On top of that, the Reaper from Aberration has its natural body armor, similar to how the Forest Titan has its natural body armor. So each one has its own, each ARK has its own thing that connects it to a boss we're going to have to face. And I'm sure Aberration would originally have prepped you for, like, better for what was to happen, but I'm not really going to explain what happened on Aberration, because that's going to be in a later video. But, yeah. So, that's what the ARKs are meant for, but they're not just meant for that. They actually can cure the element, but they can't do it alone. You have to actually go down. That's why you have to ascend through every ARK. Obviously, we cheated the system by going through Aberration, but you go through the island, then you go to Scorched, then you go to Aberration, and then you go to Earth. And the only way the ARKs can come down is by defeating Element. And by that fact, the only way of defeating Element enough for the ARKs to be able to come down and purify the Earth completely is to destroy the King Titan. So that's, like, I never understood what the King Titan was there for when Extinction was released. It didn't really seem like that crazy of a boss. It was like, okay, it's a boss, it's a huge boss, but why is it here? It doesn't make that much sense. I mean, why are we on Earth now? And all of a sudden, it makes sense now. Like, the King Titan, that's why all the ARKs come down after you defeat the King Titan, because he's the central core of the element. He can control everything. I mean, you can see that during the boss fight. He brings in other corrupted creatures during the boss fight to help you. I think, honestly, a really cool thing is, once he gets to the low health phase, if he can bring the Titans back to him, so if you were using the Titans, he would just call them back. It would make the battle so much harder, but oh my word, that'd be so cool. If it was like, he realizes that he actually has a chance of dying here, and he needs to pull everything in to defend himself, so he brings back the Titans under his control. But, once you defeat the Titans, and not just the Titans, but the King Titan, you free Earth from the element enough for the ARKs to come back down. Now, yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to it. I mean, yeah, it's crazy though, but that was the entire plan for the ARK system, or what was it? Just the ARKs. The entire point of the ARKs was to prepare survivors to get through all of the trials. That way they could free Earth finally and bring life back to Earth. The ARKs were covered in plants, animals, and humans as well. So that way, once that happened, they would all come back down and everyone could repopulate Earth, bringing life and everything back to Earth. So, yeah, it's insane. Also, something I might also address on Extinction, but on Extinction, you also might notice that the sun never moves. And there's actually a reason behind that, related to the ARKs. And that is, the ARKs, actually, because of the fact that they have to come down exactly where they were, the people who made them completely stopped the orbit of the Earth. And by completely, I mean completely stopped it. They just stopped it in its tracks, so that way the ARKs did not have such a hard time coming down. They could just come down straight back into their chunks and fill it completely fine. But I think that's about it, lore-wise, or at least as much as I can remember off the top of my head, lore-wise, about the ARKs themselves. As I said, this video is not going to be covering the ARKs, or the actual DLCs themselves, or the island. This was just a brief, it's not really that brief, but a video over the ARKs themselves and the lore behind them. But, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Next episode in this series, we'll be going over the island, then we're going to make Scorched, then Aberration, Extinction, Genesis Part 1, the whole thing. So, I'm pretty excited. I do want to work through this because I want to try to get all this done before Genesis Part 2. So that way everybody who doesn't know everything about, the lore and everything can get a general idea on what they're looking at for the future of ARK. And possibly what they can look for in Genesis Part 2 as well. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Next video is definitely not going to be one of these. This took actually quite some time to figure out. I mean, I had to make a proper script for this. This is going to be an interesting recording. And I've had to do so much for this. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. And yeah, farewell.